Register refers to the actual context, style, to the form of the language that you use. I'll give you an example in English and Spanish. If you are addressing an audience, let's say that you are running for political office and you're going to be on television, what style of English are you going to use? Probably formal, right? If you go on the air, one of the local radio stations in Spanish, what style of Spanish are you going to use? Probably formal. If you're submitting a report for a history class or an English class or a philosophy class, what style of English are you going to use? Probably formal, right? You're writing a book in Spanish, probably formal. What if you're at home with friends in a more casual setting? What style of Spanish are you going to use? What style of English? Casual, relaxed. That's what we call colloquial. Colloquial, right? Colloquial means literally conversational. What if you're with really intimate friends? And you may use ultra casual language, right? Which we call slang. Sometimes you may even slip into the taboo language, the obscenities, right? The profanity. Especially if you're upset with someone, you want to insult someone, you may use that. These are different styles, all determined by what? By the register. Well, you have the same situation in the Nahuatl language. There's style, there's register. I'm going to give you an introduction to the dialect of Nahuatl, that is, that particular variety of Nahuatl that was employed primarily in the Valley of Mexico. Chronologically, during the 16th century, of course, way before that as well, but that's what we're focusing on. And the style, not the colloquial necessarily, not the conversational, more the formal, the literary. The type that was used to what? Writing, yeah, poetry, the narrative, and so forth. Generally, the formal style differs from colloquial in that it is more complex. It's the same language, right? It's just a different form of it. Generally, if you examine the Nahuatl that is used today, as if you examine the Spanish that is used today in rural areas, it's going to tend to be what? More casual, more colloquial. The constructions will not be as elaborate, will not be as complex as what you would find, let's say, in the formal style. And just to clarify the point a bit more specifically, the breakdown reflects the language as it is manifested in documents such as these, the primeros memoriales, I'll explain what these are in a second, the Florentine Codex, I'm sure you have a Cantares Mexicanos somewhere around here, documents that are transcribed using Latin letters because they were recorded in the 16th century. We have to consider the following. There was an indigenous writing system which actually continues to be used. There is a professor, Joaquin Galarza, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He works half of the year with the Museo de Don, the Museum of Man in Paris, and half of the year with the School of Anthropology in Mexico City. And he on his own has been doing quite a bit to promote the use of the traditional hieroglyphic writing system and to teach it. He offers seminars and workshops on his own in Mexico City. There was an indigenous writing system. As a matter of fact, there were several types of writing used before the coming of the Spaniards. And the indigenous languages were represented using these systems. Once the Spaniards arrived, indigenous scholars, indigenous historians, because of their interaction with the Spaniards, not only taught the Spaniards how to use the indigenous writing system, you have to consider that the Spaniards had to learn what? The native languages and script in order to communicate with the native. How were they going to learn it? Well, they consulted these native scribes, these native scholars, these Tlaquilos, these Tlamatinis. So these scribes taught the Spaniards their system and in the process learned the use of the Spanish alphabet from the Spaniards. That was natural connection. These native scribes gradually began to do what? match sounds in the Nahuatl language with letters in the Spanish and the Latin alphabet, and of course the Spanish began to do the same thing. So that beginning early in the 1520s, Nahuatl was being recorded using Latin letters just the way that I'm doing here. The script, the alphabet that I'm using to write the Nahuatl language is foreign to it. It is alien to it. So what? When you write English, what script are you using? Latin, exactly. Are you using the English alphabet? Of course not. You're using the Roman alphabet. The Latin alphabet is foreign to English because English is not a Latin language. Is it foreign to Spanish? No, because Spanish is a Latin language. Latin became Spanish. So, keep that in mind. Now, this is going to produce certain varieties of spelling. You may come across spellings that differ from each other. Which one is correct? There is no correct or incorrect. Honestly, there is none. I think the question is, which one is more common? Which one do you come across most often in publications? Of the two, it's this one. But if you pronounce this Nahuatl, pronounce this Nahuatl, same thing. Likewise. Which one is correct? There is no correct or incorrect. The word is co-op. Since we're using the Roman alphabet, the Latin alphabet, you could do it with a C or with a K. Which is more common? The one you will find most often in publications is this one. Now, something else also. Three letters. Well, actually, same letter by itself. The colon is the neutron. These two indicate long A. Ah. By itself, short A. Ah. I don't bother with this or this, although technically, from a purely linguistic viewpoint, it's more accurate to mark vowel length. However, if you examine any of these documents, any document transcribed in the 16th century, no document really is vowel length marked. So that I don't bother with it in order to simply save time. All right? But don't panic if you come across different spellings. The spellings simply reflect the same pronunciation. And different transcribers have chosen to use different spellings. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the phonetic alphabet, the International Phonetic Alphabet. Anyone? If you ever study linguistics, you may be asked to memorize it. These are symbols that are supposed to represent as many sounds as exist generally in the European languages. And sometimes the linguistic alphabet is used to represent the Nahuatl language. That's all pretty much arbitrary. I'm using in this workshop the spelling that is the most commonly used one in publications. Right? Okay, well, let's begin our